Kind of strange to look back over the past week and realize that this has been the most relevant, culturally speaking, Star Wars has been for the better part of a decade. Like, I had punched out of paying attention to modern media back when The Last Jedi was coming around, and I would say, obviously, this eclipses everything that's going on with the Acolyte right now, that dumpster fire that continues to burn in the background to this very day. But Star Wars trending on social media day after day, and well, by the end of today, with everything that we know about episode 3 of the Acolyte, I don't know how much more catastrophic this can ultimately be, given the fact that they're going to be rewriting the Force instead of it being a quote-unquote force that lives and permeates through all living creatures and things. Now it's going to become a thread of some kind that you can manipulate, and it's created by two women vociferously scissoring to the point where twins, two girl twins, okay, end up getting created, and I don't know how all that stuff's going to work out. Obviously, we're going to have more on that in but a few hours at the time of this video coming out, but for all of that coverage, for every one of your favorite media critic YouTuber that's out there covering it, either in a shill fashion, which, to be honest, I haven't really seen that many shills come out and defend this outside of the Rotten Tomatoes score, which is still in the low 90s, which is amazing. And then you have the audience side of this, you know, just your simple couple-minute reviewers, your critical drinkers, or your more laborious coverage in the form of breaking down the episode in painstaking detail, a la Little Platoon. I see him put out an hour-and-a-half long video just on episode 1, so you know that the stupidity is coming in thick and fast. And that's what I'm seeing with a lot of these critiques and a lot of those reviews. I listened to the Little Platoon one, but the guy's a great YouTuber. Okay, go subscribe to him if you haven't. That's what the big takeaway when it comes to this series is. Like, you can just go ahead and lambaste it. You know, there's probably some fat-headed idiots that are out there that are just simply going to paint this with a can of woke dismissal and move on to the next thing. But from toes to titties, this thing is completely and totally borked. The dialogue is ass. The plot is contrived beyond all belief. And the characters are cardboard cutouts at best and laughable at worst. There's very little to hang your hat on when it comes to this either feeling like Star Wars or even feeling like a competently written show. There is a quarter of the entirety of this series runtime already out there, and does it give off the appearance of this being a $180 million production? If you were unfortunate enough to have witnessed any of that, have you seen $45 million worth of production budget on screen? No, by the end of this, I'm sure everybody who is still going to be reviewing it after the worst is over, which, who knows, right? Because the reviewer class have only seen the first 4 episodes. It could get tremendously worse, but I really don't know how it's going to get worse, because we'll come back to this in a second. But one of the people that have seen all 4 episodes in totality is Film Threats Chris Gore, and he was the one to really bring it to the forefront what to expect with episode 3 coming out later tonight. And well, he broke it down on several podcasts that I listened to. We'll just run it back for posterity's sake, because we're going to be able to cross-check it and see how accurate he was. These first 2 episodes are pretty basic. They get you into the story and into the world. Episode 3, I'm warning you, it's going to completely lose everyone. Well, we've seen over the weekend, like, literally nobody, even the people that are trying to present something as being at least motivation to stick with the story, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Master Squid Game, okay, the Jedi Master Soul, he's passable, but he has terrible content to work with. Amandla Stenberg can't get a proper name, and she also can't properly act, because I've seen a couple of clips of her, and oh boy, is she pathetic. And maybe outside of some passing flashbacks for Trinity, you're not going to be seeing Carrie-Anne Moss anymore, because she was the most basic example of bait and switch, because she was dead before the credits rolled. She was dead within the first 5 minutes of the season. It's not a spoiler, it's the first thing that you're introduced to. So what is keeping you around? Have you seen another shirtless idiot who's just going to run around saying that Anakin blew up the Death Star? Are we hoping for more genius quotes from that mongoloid? along the lines of the best thing about Star Wars is, and he actually said this, there is no clear distinction between good and bad. It's like, holy shit, how can you be even somebody in a Western country in the 21st century and not understand the fundamental battle in Star Wars is between the light side and the dark side, the Force. But hey man, I'm not hired by Disney. I just look at this stuff at face value and present it the way that I see it, and what I see is trash. They completely redefine what the Force is. Detailed gore. You're going to see two mothers conceive twins, which in today's day and age, nothing really surprises me. It comes across as desperate. They're releasing this in June. I'm just surprised Star Wars hasn't tried to pull this trick earlier, but okay, cool. Two mothers conceive twins. Well, they're magic, so they can just go ahead and pull a Bene Gesserit type thing and create a couple of kids out of, I don't know, pure spite and hatred for men, whatever. A bunch of witches that are, not night witches, not Jedi, not Force-sensitive people. It's just another magic system that we need to throw in there for no good reason. And it's basically the Jedi turn into cops and child protective services. It's like, yes, CPS for the galaxy. Episode 1 and 2, whatever, it's fine. It's not fine. The critic then revealed. But 3 and 4, get ready for pronouns in Star Wars. It's happening. I'm literally considering having a funeral for Star Wars. Literally getting everybody to dress up. Yes, of course, because the twins, played by Amandla, are made aware of by the Jedi, and then they come to their little, Subaru dealership on a planet far, far away. Okay, they turn up and they want to take the girls and train them in the ways of the Jedi and all that crap, and try to administer a test to see if they're force sensitive enough, something like that. And May, who is now the bad twin, the Acolyte, the Jedi Master assassin who stabs Carrie-Anne Moss with a tiny little dagger and convinces the incredibly poorly make-upped white Jedi Master who's been meditating for 10 years, convinces him to kill himself by drinking poison because the first easy suggestion didn't work. Long story short is what's being alleged right now. We'll know in a very short period of time. But she gets mad because Osha, the good twin, played by the same person, ends up passing the test after the twins decide that, no, we're just going to go ahead and purposefully flub the test so we can stay with our moms here in U-Haultopia, whatever the hell they're going to call it. But no, after Osha accidentally passes because she's so great at everything, guys, okay? Even when she tries to fail a test, her superpowers just end up transcending even her own perceived inadequacies. She's just that amazing. But May, fails because I guess that's what she wanted. Something like that. But then, knowing that her sister is going to be taken away from her, instead of dealing with this in a reasonable fashion, she decides to burn a book of Osha's, right? Set it to fire, where she was writing down all of her love letters to the Jedi because Osha's fascinated with the Jedis, at least at this point in time. May lights that book on fire, and then it ends up, catching something else on fire and burning the entire village and everybody in it to the ground. It's going to be so cataclysmically stupid the way that plays out. Those are just simply the broad strokes. So yeah, the way that goes, it's definitely going to transcend the stupidity of just two moms creating a couple of Force kids. I guarantee it. But for the normies that are out there, if you already read ahead and took a look at that headline, the Acolyte performs worse than Ahsoka. Global minutes viewed less than Ahsoka's US premiere viewership, which was already down from Obi-Wan, which, of course, right? Like, you could make a reasonable deduction that, okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi is probably a little bit more popular than Ahsoka Tano. Dave Filoni is somewhere, punching air or chasing after his dog. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, according to Disney, shattered records. And then Ahsoka, well, according to Disney, was the best. What would be the way that they probably put it? The best premiere in 2023 of a live-action Star Wars series that is an adaptation of a long-running animated series. I'm sure that they'll probably give it some records it'll just artificially break. The way that The Acolyte was the best performing Star Wars show to debut in 2024. When you break it down, and I think it was Valiant Renegade or somebody like that, another YouTuber that's out there, a guy who's more into the financials and the business side of things, broke it down that not but 3% of Disney Plus's dwindling subscriber base even bothered to tune into this stuff. So with the amount of coverage that's out there, the wall-to-wall coverage, all of the views that this thing is getting, and the eyes that are being put on Star Wars right now, nobody's actually watching it because everybody knows Star Wars is dead, bro. It's been dead for a long time. You can run it all the way back to the divisiveness that was generated with The Last Jedi and the disrespect that legacy characters, even though you could argue that was done in The Force Awakens, and I would definitely hear that in argumentation of Han Solo, but what they did to Luke Skywalker ended up having a knock-on effect that we're still dealing with. But now, kind of seems like, I don't know, is this just peak apathy? I don't think if we know for sure, because this is just another story. It doesn't really have any loose connections to anything that Disney did with their sequel trilogy. It's not really latching on to anything even from the prequel era. Who knows? Like I said, give it some more time. We still have 4 unwatched episodes, even by the critics. I'm sure they can find a way to, piss on the grave of Yoda, who's still kicking around somewhere, or find a way to try to drag in Darth Sidious and ruin his character. Or who knows, maybe May will just end up being Darth Sidious or something like that. Who knows? It just could get dumber from here, but nobody's paying attention to it. Nobody's actually watching it. After the outrage is gone and done, nobody's going to care. Deadline's Katie Camponi reported that according to Lucasfilm data, the Acolyte's 2-episode premiere only attracted 11.1 million views globally after 5 days. Because what was the number? 4.2 or 4.8? I think it was 4.8, right? Million views, okay, overnight for the 2-episode premiere, which everybody broke that down. It's like, that ain't shit, bro, but all right, good for you, I guess. Now, this report confirms that the Acolyte performed worse than the most recent Star Wars live-action series, Dave Filoni's Ahsoka, right? His OC, Don't Steal. According to a blog post on StarWars.com, Lucasfilm reported that the debut episode of Ahsoka, which, I can't remember, that was a 2-episode premiere. 114 million views, making the series #1 globally on the streaming platform. In a footnote, Lucasfilm noted that a view is defined as the total stream time divided by runtime available. Yeah, it's not even somebody watching the episode to completion. This is just somebody who clicked on it and for an indeterminate amount of time just went, wow, this is Star Wars in 2024, huh? I can see why nobody really cares. But here's the thing, man. For everything that you probably heard here, and for everything that you've heard if you've watched other coverage of this, the series is just bad. Okay, it's not like Ahsoka was any better. That shit was just boring. It had long gaps in dialogue and really didn't advance the plot all that much. Cool. You switched out Sabine and Ahsoka for Ezra and Thrawn. Great, fantastic. I'm sure you're going to do something with that goofy Mortis stuff and, try to leech off of Lord of the Rings and other far more popular and well-developed stories in Season 2. That'll be fantastic, right? And what's the state of The Mandalorian right now? Okay, for as much as everybody liked Season 1 and, thought all the key jangling was sweet in Season 2, does anybody defend at this point in time Season 3? No, they were dumping on it at the time of its release, and that's going to be the next Star Wars movie to come out. That's when we're really going to see if apathy is set in, let alone what happens with the Rey movie, if and when that ultimately does come out. I still err on the side that it will, because Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm are in fact that dumb, but Disney, Lucasfilm, has killed Star Wars. It was the biggest cinematic franchise in history. Everybody in the 4 corners of the world knew the name Star Wars. And at this point in time, it is indisputable. There is more bad Star Wars content out there than there is good Star Wars content. But hey, perhaps we're all just getting this wrong, okay? Because the Acolyte isn't ruining Star Wars. You are. This is a wild one right here, right? No one hates Star Wars more than those who claim to be Star Wars fans. Yeah, no, the people who actually like the stuff are the most critical of it. Big discovery that you have right there. Who's the right? Livy Scott. Okay, sure, the past few years have given the fandom plenty to critique. Oh, okay, cool, so it's been bad for a while, but you guys are the ones who are really ruining it. The sequel splintered the fan base beyond recognition, and Lucasfilm's efforts to expand the galaxy on a small screen have been mixed at best. At least you're so far so fine, I guess. And in some cases, criticism is inevitable. No. In all cases, criticism is available. Somebody has a piece of art, regardless of the medium, regardless of the platform, you're going to get critique. Critique, inherently, is not negative or positive. It is simply what it is. It's just freaks like this always hear, you're going to be negative about everything. You're going to have something to say about everything. It's like, yeah, would you rather have passion or would you rather have apathy? Because apathy seems to be what Star Wars has right now. And in some case, it's inevitable. Not everyone will find something to like about a franchise's recent output. At a certain point, though, the discourse reaches a fever pitch, and even Lucasfilm's most promising projects get swept up in the drama. The Acolyte is not the first Star Wars project to face a brunt of fan backlash, and it likely won't be the last. You know what? It really well could be. It really well could be, because there are several things that have been announced. What is actually in production right now? Like, the Rey movie is supposed to start filming. The Mandalorian and Grogu is supposed to start filming. What's the next TV show that's supposed to come out? Like, we have no confirmation of anything set to film. Like, we're supposed to get season 2 of Ahsoka. That was announced at the same time of Mandalorian and Grogu. Okay, cool. When's that gonna happen? Don't know. Is there gonna be a season 2 of The Acolyte? Come on now, don't make me laugh. Is season 4 of Mandalorian? Or is that script that Favreau has apparently already written being repurposed into the movie? What about another book of Boba Fett? No, of course not. Obi-Wan season 2, you kind of set that up with a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end by having Liam Neeson come back and go, all right, it's time to go, let's go. Qui-Gon Jinn finally coming back for the first time in about 25 years. Well, at time of release of that series, 23 years, and the best thing that you had him do is go, what took you so long? Let's go. And then shuffled him off stage like he's Joe Biden shatting his cacks on stage at a D-Day memorial. What's coming out for Star Wars? Disney. You spent how many $1 billion on this, and you have no plan going forward? We already knew that. We already seen that you had no plan with the sequel trilogy. And now you have all of these TV shows that have cost you hundreds of millions of dollars. The cheapest one being Obi-Wan, and that was $90 million, probably because Ewan McGregor took a significant haircut on that. That was your one opportunity to, pay lip service and at least try to drag back in the fans that you tried to push away right at the beginning of the sequel trilogy, because what was the first line of spoken dialogue in The Force Awakens after years of people retroactively hating on the prequels? This will begin to make things right. And then even before the completion of your sequel trilogy, you were already pilfering the prequels in order to attract fans. And then with all of these series, it is kicked into hyperdrive. You've ruined everything. But no. That's just me taking a look at the landscape right now. It's not Disney. It's not a Lucasfilm that's ruining everything. It's in fact, it's the audience. They need to increase their media literacy and just like the shiny glow sticks that are on the screen and pay attention to the strong, diverse casting, you bunch of bigots. So with all that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.